Alex Pereira is not only playing a villain in the UFC. According to THR, he is in talks to make his acting debut alongside Andrea Arjona as a villain in Adam Wingard's action horror thriller Onslaught. Pereira also shared a screenshot of his FaceTime call between himself and Jon Jones, stating, "Even Dana White would be curious of what we talked about." As we already know, Jon Jones has cancelled his retirement plan, so it could be the start of the mega fight between them. By the way, Pereira's former rival Israel Adesanya also hints at his next fight via video, where we can see him studying Nasruddin Imamov's fight against Jared Cannonier. Other than these hints, we have some official fight announcements as well. After UFC did not allow Raul Rosas Jr. to compete against Muhammad Makhachev, former UFC fighter Rogerio Bontorin will now headline ADXC's tonight's grappling event. Martin Buday will face Rizwan Kuniev at UFC 310 on December 7th. Joel Alvarez will take on Ricard Close, and Said Nurmagomedov will fight Daniel Marcos at UFC Tampa on December 14th. Abdulrazak Al-Hassan will fight Cesar Almeida, Magomed Gadji Something will fight Bruno Lopez, and Jose Johnson will take on Felipe Bunes at UFC Vegas 101 on January 11th. And last fight, but absolutely not the least, Ikram Aliaskarov will return against Andre Muniz at UFC Saudi Arabia on February 1st. A lightweight fighter from Tajikistan, Dorobshov Nabotov, who is 7-0 and 25 years old, asked for a shot in the UFC at UFC 308 press conference, and Dana brought him up on stage to work out a deal for the young man. After that, Dana told TMZ Sports that he has arranged for Nabotov to fight on the Korean Zombies promotion in Korea on December 14th. White will be in attendance filming Looking for a Fight, and if Nabotov is victorious, then he will earn a UFC contract. In the boxing world, Noah Inoue vs Sam Goodman for undisputed super bantamweight belts has now officially been announced for Christmas Eve, December 24th in Tokyo, along with its official poster. Virgil Ortiz vs Jaron Boots Ennis and Jesse Bam Rodriguez vs Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez are also being eyed as possible fights for the February 22nd Riyadh season show in Saudi Arabia. Eddie Hearn has indicated that Anthony Joshua might not be ready in time to take the Daniel Dubois rematch in February and could instead now target Tyson Fury in May. Now something about cancelled fights. Gervonta Davis vs Lamont Roach Jr. reportedly could be postponed from December 14th due to an issue with the venue, and instead take place on January 25th in Las Vegas, sharing a show with David Benavidez vs David Morrell. Charlie Campbell is out of his UFC fight with Mauricio Ruffy at UFC 309 on November 16th, and Ruffy will probably now get a new opponent. A UFC 308 fight was also about to get cancelled when Victor Hugo weighed in before the official weigh-ins and was 10 pounds over. His opponent Farid Basharat agreed to move the weight to featherweight and weighed 8 pounds lower than Hugo. Massive respect for Basharat, who didn't let the fight get cancelled. You don't see that often. Now this last section of this video is about Power Slap 9 and its post-event conference. Former UFC fighter Paige Van Zandt competed in Power Slap for the second straight victory versus Chelsea Dodson, but the fight was a draw. Paige Van Zandt was fouled and deducted a point for clubbing. At the post-event conference of Power Slap 9, Dana White responds to PFL chairman Don Davis' recent comments about breaking UFC records with the Battle of the Giants event. Dana says PFL is trying to compete with the UFC, but they can't even compete with Power Slap. Power Slap destroys PFL. A reporter said most MMA fans are dreaming about Jon Jones vs Francis Ngannou super fight. He asks Dana White how we can make it happen. Dana White denied it and said he thinks fans are dreaming about John Jones and Tom Aspinall fight and not Ngannou versus Jones. Dana revealed that he wanted to cut Francis Ngannou from the UFC following his 2018 defeat to Derek Lewis, but someone begged him not to do so. Then Dana was asked if he would be interested in signing Usman Nurmagomedov, and Dana replied, yes, he will. All PFL's good fighters want to sign with the UFC. Nobody wants to fight in the effing PFL except for Francis Ngannou. Then Dana was asked about Islam Makhachev's desire to become the double champ, and Dana said he will absolutely let Islam Makhachev fight for the double champ status against the winner of Bilal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov if he wins his next fight against Arman Sarukian. Finally, Dana White says that the UFC is looking to book an event in Spain, possibly either in Madrid or Barcelona, as soon as possible. But the issue has been that the arenas are backed up with bookings. Ilia Topuria responds immediately and said he is not fighting in Barcelona. His country fellow bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili also responded to this via social media and showed his desire to share a card with his Georgian brother Ilia Topuria if the UFC goes to Spain in 2025. During UFC 308 Q&A session, a fan accused him of being scared of Umar Nurmagomedov. Still, he is adamant in his refusal to change his mind and replied, Umar doesn't deserve the title fight, O'Malley does. He instead accused Umar Nurmagomedov for taking a fight against Song Yadong instead of him. Umar, in response, confirms he will not fight Song Yadong in December as Song is supposedly injured. The fight was not officially signed yet. After that, Song Yadong asked Umar to fight in January at UFC 311 instead of UFC 310, and Umar agreed on a condition if he does not get the title fight with Merab Dvalishvili before then, which now we all know he won't. Do you agree with Merab Dvalishvili and like the Umar vs Yadong fight, or would you prefer Merab vs Umar? Share your thoughts in the comment section and like the video as well if you enjoyed it. Now you are completely up to date with the fight world, so subscribe to the channel if you wanna stay updated, and then do whatever you want.